Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Sama, Sales Circuit Music and Art, where we cover interviews and performances with artists from all over the world. Today I've got Pascuala Ilabaca, singer-songwriter and accordionist from Valparaíso, the Valley of Paradise, Chile, in central Chile, known as the cultural hub of the country. We'll go more into that in quite a bit because it's one country I haven't visited yet, and I'd love to spend some time there. Ilabaca and her band founded a professional cooperative dedicated not only to performing music but also to youth development with a focus on promoting roots music within public schools. This is super important for everybody here at Sama as we celebrate diversity and champion our shared humanity, but often traditional music, traditional cultures, and artists get pushed along the way, like things like trap music, reggaeton, various electronic music, hip-hop become overwhelming. And as an example, if you look at a website called Radio and look at what people are listening to in different countries, there's an incredible similarity, which isn't a judgment per se, maybe a little one, but it's time for other voices and other concepts to be heard. Also, Pascuala has a new record on which it was taking a twist on a feminist twist on certain musical styles that often will play up to the fact of ungrateful women leaving, and it's a bit of a misogynist perspective on how do I say this, on heartbreak. It's always from the guy's perspective, and it's time for other perspectives on there. So we're going to see some music. We're going to see a video. Obviously, she's a modern artist, so video is super important. And then we're going to get into a conversation with Pascuala Ilabaca from Chile. Thank you for being here.
Pájaro negro en las palmeras, dos frutos cayeron a mi puerta. Tú dormida en la mosquitera y la arenita me peina.
Pascuala, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm here in Valparaíso and I'm going to start my trip to United States in 3 days more, so I'm very excited. I'm preparing everything. Today we are recording a video clip. We are doing everything in these 3 days. But I'm very happy to go there. It's very important for us to show our music there. We feel that there's a lot of stereotypes about what is being Latin American. So we are very happy to go there. Every time I go to United States or Europe, when I'm playing, I feel very excited about that. I feel that I'm opening some kind of window to a different perspective about what is a Latin American woman, or because Latin America, you know a lot about the Caribbean culture, but not, for example, Andes culture or all the mixed culture that we've got here in the deep south. So I'm very happy to show our culture there. So
Awesome.
I'm very excited to go.
I'm glad you are. Obviously, the Spanish language is now incredibly prominent in America, much more so in the past, and especially in the context of music. The charts have shown a huge proliferation of Spanish-speaking artists. But to your point, that's a language. There's incredibly wide culture within the diaspora, from Chile to Colombia to Panama, obviously to Mexico. Yeah, those are three completely different cultures, and often people here, once they hear it, they just think it's the one thing. And you may share the language, but you come from a wide range of different cultures. And I'm also intrigued at the influence of the indigenous cultures and continuing influencing indigenous cultures, and that also within South America, it's not just Spanish, obviously you have Portuguese, but there are indigenous languages and cultures there also that are presenting their own identity and their own perspective. And I'd love to speak with you a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have tried to incorporate native languages in my music. If you listen to my music, you can listen Mapudungun and Aymara, Quechua. I think it's very important because in the common language, in the family language, we use a lot of indigenous words, but we don't know they are coming from that place. For example, if you steal something, for example, a piece of chocolate inside the house, or you steal some piece of cake in the refrigerator, for example, your mother will tell you are guiña. Uy, la cabra guiña. And guiña means cat in Mapudungun. But we don't know. So it's very nice to put all these words and all these languages in the songs, because kids start to sing them again. Music has this thing that becomes very familiar. We have a lot of children that follow our music. Even our music is not was not originally thought for children, but they love, because they love traditional rhythms and they love Andes rhythms. So we start to find out that our music was a very good bridge to get interest in the children's in the native musics.
So that was one of the intentions behind the collective that I spoke about earlier, when you were focusing on creating opportunities for kids to learn. Was it like, this is good, let's play, or was it a little more different?
It was because in Chile, we are maybe like in the United States, we don't have social security for free for everyone. Is something, and artists become very vulnerables. I don't know how you say. Very weak, because they don't have health, they don't have free education, and that. So we create this cooperative to get to be formal workers in the system. Formal workers from the arts. That was the first thing. So we did contracts for us as a band, and we got really like workers, no? We become artist workers in the society. This is a very important political step in Chile, because never artists are considered as workers. Yeah. So we did this thing. We was the first band to do that, and then we was thinking why the people in Chile they never listen to Chilean music. They are always listening to another music in the radio. No? So the children, they don't know about Chilean artists, and very good Chilean artists become very poor when they are elder, because nobody knows them. So we decide to start doing music tours in the national schools, so we can show our music and also the history of another women musicians from Chile, and teach that to the children. That was the purpose.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So you actually got it done, because Chile is known as it's like the most capitalist. I mean, I'm not there, so I'm not quite sure. Yeah. But other countries tend to have more of a social democratic, socialist perspective. Obviously, we know the history of Pinochet, and we know the history of, huge fans of Mercedes Sosa. Her version of Gracias a la Vida, recorded when she came back from exile, is one of my favorite songs. I play it anytime I need an emotional catharsis with that. But the country itself seems to be going through a lot of transformation, and I'm always intrigued to talk to artists that are coming from countries, should we say, in transition, And that tells me what you just said right now is that the country's transitioning in a really interesting way, especially post-pandemic, where artists didn't tour. So how the hell are they going to make money to feed themselves and feed their families? So now if they're actually qualified as workers, so they can actually get Social Security, unemployment, and all of those aspects. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. But this experience we are just starting, no? Because
Okay.
In the 70s, when the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet started, they did a new constitution, the law from Chile, that makes Chile a country where everything is private and is offering the country to extractivism. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I always compare Latin America with Africa, because we are always exposed to extractivism. We never. We lost all our own factories, and we are always selling like the prime material and buying everything from another parts of the world. Yeah. So now, after Estallido Social, the very important political process we lived in 2018, Chile is becoming a youngest country in the in the officiality, and we are searching from these ways to create a new constitution. We are now in this process, but also to live with more dignity for artists, for ordinary people. Like, this is the process we are living now, but it's full of violence, because the rich people doesn't want to lose their privileges, no? So it's very difficult, the political situation in Chile.
Okay, you're giving me more information than I had, so I appreciate that very much. You're coming to the States, you're coming to Europe, you're touring. You've been, as everybody has been, you've been at home in Chile. We just said that this is the first time you're giving an English interview in many a year because of the pandemic. That's a trippy place to be. That's an interesting way to kind of go like, okay, hey, here I am. What do you think it's going to be like? What's the first time you're on stage here? Like, what do you think you're going to be saying to people? Because your music isn't like, la 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 la, I love you, la 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 la, please stay with me. I mean, in various forms, but you're presenting a lot. You're presenting your culture, you're presenting your ideas, and you're bringing a lot to the table. What are you bringing?
Yeah. I love to perform, and music is a language in itself, no? So I feel always when we are playing, people is enjoying this life, because we are very emotional and passionate to play our music. Mm-hmm. And also because I'm a songwriter, every song speaks something that it really touched me. So it's a strong feelings. Our concert, if you go, is a very powerful moment, and we have been playing live for more than 12 years, so with the same band. So the band is very strong.
What's your secret?
What?
What's your secret?
To
Bands
play
don't
with
stay
the same.
together that long. That's like there's always like.
Yeah, it's work. Yeah, working with emotion, feelings, taking care of each other. This is very important. Yeah, we were partners in the university, and then this band begins like a friendship, no? And then becomes a professional music band. And we are always inviting different musicians or dancers. In Chile, we have 2 permanent dancers in the band. We create the histories of the song. They dance with masks. It's very beautiful. Unfortunately, when we do international tours, we can travel with all the big team. But I think it's very important to take care of people. This thing, I think, is the secret tool to play together for 12 years. No? Being very carefully with emotions and cares. And the thing that I'm doing now in my show is all these new songs I'm taking rhythms from Latin America that in their lyrics they are terrible machistas. For example, ranchera, bolero, vals, Peruvian vals, even songwriters, songs like protest songs. They protest songs. They're also very machista because, for example, if you think in revolution in America Latina, you will sing in Che Guevara or Comandante Marcos. Like there's a lot of revolutionary men that you can know. You can have a teacher with their faces, but you never know the revolutionary women from Latin America. So I'm trying to create lyrics that shows a different way of feeling and thinking about how we want to be, how we want to be in this moment in the world, no? Like for example, this Huayno that I showed, ¿Por qué se fue la paloma? My new song. Huaynos, they always speak about this terrible woman that you gave her love and then she left you, no? And my song is not speaking about the opposite way, like, yeah, but you was not a good man. No, the woman is saying, I'm free. I can come and I can go. I'm free. I'm not. The song is not speaking about you was bad, that's why I left. No, it's speaking about new ways of the new way of relationship we're looking for to the future. How we want to love from now to the future, no?
Perfect.
Si has de llamarme paloma, no puedes no ver mis alas. Si has de llamarme paloma, no puedes no ver mis alas. Me construiste una casita sin siquiera preguntar. No es pa' mi cuello el collar, ni mi casa un palomar. Ay, ni mi casa un palomar. Así como soy paloma, toca volar, toca volar.
That could be threatening to some established artists, but I'm glad that you're doing it. I'm glad that you're presenting this because often in these old songs, you're right, they're really, this is an interesting canvas to start playing with, where you're reinterpreting, you're kind of like singing back in a way where these women haven't had an opportunity to sing back to these songs. So it's a beautiful, I look at it as like a journey. You're telling the story from your perspective now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, not only me, it's my generation. We are all and the young kids, we are all trying to love in a different way. So less possessive, not feeling that love is something that hurts. So this feeling about love, this is a contemporary feeling, must be in songs with traditional rhythms, because if not, everything that you listen in a traditional rhythm is going to be a mentality from the past, no? So this is a duty to put our contemporary thinking in the ancestral rhythms.
That's beautiful. So you've been doing this for a while. You also went to India, which is a completely different culture. And you had a band, I guess the band's still together, in Samadhi. How is that experience? Because first of all, most people don't travel. But spending time in India and performing and learning about that culture and then coming back to Chile, traveling, learning about traditional culture. How are you combining all of those things into the work that you are right now? How do they play together?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I lived in India for 1 year. Since 10 years, I left from Chile when I was 10, and I come back when I was 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very transforming for me, because I realized that Latin America is not totally Western. Because always they tell you are Western. But Latin America is a different culture, and we also have a very important relationship with nature. And the way when humanity connect with nature is a different way of feeling and thinking reality that is not so Western, I feel. Because and when I went to India, I realized that we were very similar. We were very similar in many things, and nature is taking a very important role. For example, if maybe the people more similar to each other is people from Andes Mountain and Himalaya Mountain, for example, because they are living such a similar life. So they start to do music similar, and they dress with these super strong colors, and they are really similar, Himalayas people with Andes people. Or maybe all the people who grow up in the beach, they are going to play some kind of similar music because they are living a relationship with nature that is in common. Mm-hmm. So when I came back to Chile, since I was a kid, I was feeling I was not Western. And this, I think, changed the way the rules that I assume. Because when I started studying composition, everyone tell me, your songs cannot last more than 4 minutes. What are you doing? Your single is 6 minutes. This is not possible. Yeah. But I was sure that in another country like India, 1,200 million of people, they were listening songs that last for 1 hour.
Oh yeah.
So I was sure that this is possible to do. See? So I start to be very sure about that we can make things as we like, because world is very diverse. And also I have not to assume I'm Western, because in many ways I'm not Western. I'm Latin American. So I have always mixed up. After I went to India to study in the university, I studied singing, and I have been all my life going and coming back. And I feel this music is very familiar to something from the music from Chile. For example, one Mapuche woman will sing like that, like Mapu, Mapu, mei, Mapu, Mapu, mei, Mapu, Mapu, mei. One Mapuche woman from south of Chile. And in India, you can sing like that, like Sari ga ma pa ra. So it's the same thing, because it's the same feeling about sound is part of the nature. So sound is like a wave, no? Mapu mei or ma. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was, I deeply feel that this music is very familiar. So there's no problem with mixing those worlds, because we are already connected by the way that we looked nature all our life as culture.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I love that story. It's hard to get that explained, and I really appreciate it. I interrupted you.
I hope you understand.
I totally understand. It's like, it's our motto: celebrate diversity, champion shared humanity, and looking at this music. I've been doing this for a long time, so looking at these musical traditions and trying to find ways where they complement each other, not overwhelm each other, or it's like, oh, you need to sound like this right now. But I love that when you see this flow between mountain people, people in the forests, in the steppes, and that we're all just human beings. This is just language, civilization is just a manifestation of our beauty. And it's all beautiful. I interrupted you when you were talking about you getting ready for this tour. It's been a pandemic. It still is a pandemic. It's still here. What are you doing as a human being? What are you doing to get ready? What are you hoping will happen?
In what sense?
Getting ready, getting on tour, going to different places, visiting.
Yeah.
Sharing yourself.
In the practical stuff has been much more difficult than another tours because I have done 22 international tours before. I have been plenty times in Europe, but this tour was hardest to build, no? Because everything is more expensive, and for example, the United States visa for working, for playing as a musician, was the double price this year. This is like, $6,000 we paid for going to play there. So it's very this year was much more difficult. This makes me worry because I feel it's very important to the cultural interchange. Yeah. So if it's so hard going there, it's less possibilities for cultural interchange in the world. And as you say, we are all living such monopolio. I don't know how you say monopolio.
Monoculture.
Like monocultive, the opposite of biodiversity. In the social media, we are all enjoying the same kind of stuff, and Netflix, we are all looking the same movies. So I feel it's urgent to create the possibilities to do more interchange in the world in this moment after pandemics. So that give me power to cross all that difficulties to be able to go there, but it was very hard. Now there's only 3 days left, so I'm preparing everything. But it was very hard. I need to say it.
I'm hearing it from everybody, and I'm glad that you're coming. Video plays an important part in all musicians' lives right now, and I've been looking at your videos, and obviously after this you're going to be recording another video. What's your thought process with putting this out? Because it is literally just as important as the sound, and everybody is now consuming music through video, even us here right now through video. What's your thought on this? And you've provided us a couple of videos. We're going to be closing with those, but I'm always asking questions like, so as an artist, you're putting this out as a multi-layered, multi-dimensional performance now, not just you on stage, or just listen to this record. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, I feel my music is very related with visuals because it's inspired in all the festivities we do here in the different regions in Chile. And those festivities are not only music, are always dance and always some vestuario or other some mask. So it's beautiful when the people get the opportunity to see how really this music is with all this visual, and it's a unity, and the dance. But I think it's also now that music is a visual art, is very we need as musicians to get more tools to work on that. So I'm trying to study now all this music as a performing art. There's cultures that they develop a lot of that, but I feel in my university education we never saw music as a visual art. I was studying contemporary music, composition, and they never worry about that. So I think it's something we need to develop, because, for example, theater is as an art is much more complete in developing all the visual and musical stuff. No, I feel music is like a little bit more poor in this moment. We can, when I see Chilean theater, we've got an incredible theater in Chile. You can see a lot of special effects and it's very complete, the scene you see. So music is much more poor. In the musicians from the 90s in Chile, I was always joking that they were like in pajamas over the stage, no? Like this cool feeling of being like, where I am, I don't know where I am, I'm using my pajama, like everything is so, I'm on the stage but I don't know where I am, something like that. That was like the cool spirit of being a musician. But now everything is changing, and I can feel how the woman, we are taking more space in music, and also with women, all the performing part is becoming more strong in music.
Perfect. Thank you. That's so true. I mean, in Seattle, there was a grunge scene in the 90s, and you basically just walked up the street with your hoodie and your ripped jeans and you started playing. There was no thought about this. There was no separation audience. But I think you brought up the point of social media, and there is a monoculture with that. But there's more performance now in general. Like, you're seeing in popular music, people are dressing up. People are performing more. Like, you've got your little videos, TikTok and beyond. It's like, it's not just you. It's like you have to do so much now. And on YouTube, you better spend some production value on there. You're not going to get the... It's just an interesting mindset as a musician. You're totally right. You have to think like a theater person, where it's like all of those parts need to be covered, but not from a global perspective. And
in the video we just released, I invite people that is seeing this interview to check this video, Porque se fue la paloma, in YouTube. And in this video we were researching a lot of months before we did the video. I invite one woman, Aymara, from this Aboriginal culture from the north of Chile, to live in my region for 2 months, and she was teaching us how the Andes culture symbology for the dresses. For example, if you use I don't know how you say this,
ponytail.
Trenza.
Braid.
Yeah, one braid, for example. If you use one, it means you are single, or if you use two, it means you are married, or if you use the hat in which style, it means a lot of different social and cultural things, no? So she was teaching us all of that, and then we create all the customs, including this symbology to liberate that woman that was originally coming from that culture. So it is very, we did a very important work with her since September last year, and we just released the video, but was a very deep process.
Pascuala Ilabaca, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Look forward to catching you in the United States and Europe, and your touring calendar is very interesting. You're playing on Vashon here in Seattle and Seattle proper. You're going to have you been here before?
Yeah, I was playing in the Triple Door in Seattle.
Okay, perfect.
For maybe twice or 3 times. Yeah.
Okay, then I need to know more about this. But
I loved Seattle. I love this place. It's a little bit similar like my city, because it's like this port feeling. With a lot of movement and crazy people going in the street, and some relaxed feeling in the city. I loved.
And good coffee. Okay, awesome. Awesome. I look forward to seeing you here. This has been great. I want to thank Mark for setting up this interview.
Thank you.
And,
thank you very much.
Best of luck and best success.